All right, get this. There's a high-stakes heist going on right now. A desperate battle for a precious element that's essential for, well, pretty much all life. But this isn't happening in some bank vault. Nope, it's happening all around us, in the dirt under our feet, at a totally microscopic level. We're talking about the Great Iron Heist.
So here's how we're going to crack this case. We're going to start with the central problem, what's called the iron paradox. Then we'll meet the masterminds, the microbes, and check out their special keys. After that, we'll break down the heist itself, step by step, and see what fuels these little guys. And finally, we'll connect this tiny, invisible struggle to its absolutely massive impact on our entire planet.
Okay, so first things first, the iron paradox. You can think of this as the ultimate locked box mystery, and it sets the stage for everything else.
Let me ask you a question. What's something that is literally everywhere, totally essential for life to even exist, but for countless organisms, it might as well be on the moon? It's locked away, completely out of reach. Well, the answer is iron.
See, the problem boils down to this. Iron comes in two main flavors. On one hand, you've got ferric iron, or Fe+3. It's the most common form out there, but it's insoluble. It's like a locked vault, just packed with treasure that nobody can get to. And then you have the treasure itself, ferrous iron, Fe+2. This is the good stuff, the soluble, usable form that organisms desperately need to survive. The whole challenge for microbes is figuring out how to get from that locked vault to the treasure inside.
So how do they do it? How do they solve this puzzle? Well, these microbes have evolved their very own set of master keys to pick the lock. And these keys have a name, siderophores.
So what in the world is a siderophore? At its core, it's a tiny, water-soluble molecule that microbes cook up and then just send out into the wild. And it has one single mission: find and grab that locked-up ferric iron. You can think of them like little biological bounty hunters, sent out for one specific target.
And their toolkit is just brilliant. First off, they're super lightweight, which means they can travel around easily. They're also extracellular, meaning they do all their work outside the safety of the cell wall. But here's the most important part. They have an insanely high affinity for ferric iron. They are literally designed to latch onto it and never let go. This grabbing action is called chelation, and it's helpful to just picture the siderophore as a tiny molecular claw that snatches the iron atom.
All right, so we've met the key. Now let's watch the heist itself. This is the chelation cycle, the play-by-play of how these microbes steal the iron they so desperately need to live.
And it's just this beautifully efficient process. Step 1, the microbe unleashes its siderophores. Step 2, the siderophore claw finds its target and captures that ferric iron. Step 3, the whole package, the iron and the siderophore, is brought back into the cell. Step 4, inside, a quick chemical reaction converts that locked-up Fe+3 into the usable Fe+2. And finally, and this is a masterstroke of efficiency, the now empty siderophore is recycled, just kicked right back out to go grab some more iron. The heist can happen over and over again.
Okay, so we know how the heist works, but what about the who? Who are these master locksmiths, and what kind of fuel are they using to forge these incredible keys?
Well, the main culprits are bacteria, especially groups like Actinobacteria and Enterobacteria. Now, the research really points to Actinobacteria as some of the most important and, frankly, most skilled producers of these iron-grabbing compounds in the soil.
But get this, not all thieves are created equal. This quote from the research is pretty fascinating. Scientists found that even within the exact same family of bacteria, you get huge differences. One strain, Streptomyces MCR24, was an absolute superstar producer, but another, MCR30, was, well, kind of lazy, a real low performer. It just goes to show you there's a real art and a science to this whole operation, even at the microbiological level.
So what makes a superstar producer? A lot of it comes down to fuel. This chart spells it out perfectly. When the researchers fed microbes an easy-to-use carbon source, like the simple sugar glucose, their siderophore production just went through the roof. It's like giving them high-octane fuel for the job. But when they got a more complex source, like sodium succinate, production was way, way lower. The easier the energy, the more keys they can make. It's that simple.
So, we've seen the crime, the tool, the culprits, and their fuel. But why should we care about this microscopic drama? Well, it turns out this tiny little heist has massive global-scale consequences.
Here's the connection, the big so what. One of the most critical biological processes on this entire planet is nitrogen fixation. That's turning nitrogen from the air into natural fertilizer for plants.
And the microbes that perform this miracle, they are absolutely dependent on iron. They need it to build a crucial enzyme called nitrogenase. No iron, no enzyme. No enzyme, no nitrogen fixation. The whole system grinds to a halt.
And we are not talking about just a little bit of iron. This number here is just staggering. A single molecule of that nitrogenase enzyme requires a full 36 atoms of iron just to work. 36! That really puts into perspective why these microbes had to evolve such a clever and efficient heist. Their entire function, which supports so much of life on Earth, absolutely depends on it.
And all of that brings us to our final big picture thought. If these microbes are the key to unlocking iron, and iron is the key to nitrogen fixation, which is the key to healthy plants, then could we actually harness these tiny thieves? Could understanding and maybe even helping the best siderophore producers in our soil be a whole new frontier in sustainable agriculture, a way to help feed a growing world? It's a really powerful question, and it all starts with this tiny ancient heist.